Alright guys, TacticalRab again today. Hope you're all doing well and enjoying your day so far. Huge rumours last night as to the future of the Call of Duty franchise. This year's Sledgehammer's Modern Warfare 3 is not too bad compared to the last couple of COD titles, but it's been quite some time since we have had a Treyarch game. Rumour has it next year, 2024, is going to be Black Ops Gulf War, but the year after that, it seems Treyarch might be going back to back with a Black Ops 2 effective remaster or very close sequel to the original from way back in 2012. Lots of the same maps, lots of the same ideas, could be massive news, especially with some of the pros such as Clayster saying that he's not going to retire anytime soon if this is actually going to be the future. Very much interested in your thoughts in the comments below. Hit the like button if you enjoy. Subscribe if you're new as always. I would greatly appreciate it. Plenty to get into. Formwell's birthday as well yesterday's. Happy birthday to him. Had to throw him on the thumbnail as well, just because, well, it aligns quite nicely with what we were about to discuss. We'll quickly mention as well, Neptune went to Halo, of course. Formwell's done the rounds there, starting, Halo to COD, back to Halo, of course. Neptune's kind of done a similar thing, was in Halo, came to Call of Duty for a couple of seasons, has now gone back to the Halo world. He talked about this in an article, actually, that, an interview that he did with aBeZy. Kind of funny article, because I'm not going to lie, his responses almost sound AI generated. Like, his responses to the first 3 questions are basically the same in some way or another, but I guess he gets the point across. He prefers Halo, he thinks he's got a better chance there, and that the setup in Halo is more conducive, right? At the end of the day, there's plenty of great players in the Call of Duty League, but there's also plenty of great players outside the Call of Duty League, and you can well argue that there's certain players outside of the league that deserve spots more than the players do in the league. That, of course, is a matter for debate. But in Halo, maybe that situation is slightly better aligned. So, and Neptune gets a lot of respect in the Halo world as well. So he's got a good team going into the new season on that native gaming roster that is upcoming relatively soon. Speaking, though, of players that aren't in the league that maybe could be, this is the FaZe Clan Black team. They're bringing it back. This used to be a team a few years ago now. They had effectively like a sister team to the main FaZe roster. Hasn't been a thing in a little bit of time, but now it's officially back in business. So I don't know how influential Zoom has been to get this sorted, because we know that he's obviously been always keen to kind of have a challengers team on the go, and like the FaZe guys are now supporting an official challengers roster. This is really cool stuff. Great to see for these boys. So this is a Seams team, kind of similar, right, to the team that was meant to be on the Los Angeles Grillers, or well, we don't really know if Los Angeles Grillers ever intended that, but they thought at least that they were potentially going to be there. No gunless here, of course, but it's Exceed, Brack, Crimp, and a Seam as the FaZe Clan Black roster for the upcoming season. So that's going to be their challengers team. Really cool stuff. I know a Seam in the replies as well was like, massive dub. Super honored for this opportunity. Will not put it to waste, right? So this is the thing, the last few years in COD, it's been difficult for challengers guys and challengers teams to really get the support they need, especially from organizations that don't really see the return. The intention potentially was from the league to have all of the teams have some sort of challengers roster. Now, that's never been officially mandated, and of course, if you were to do that, it's additional expenditure that these orgs just straight up don't have. But FaZe think it's going to be worthwhile to support it. Kind of interesting in the sense that Classic is their substitute, right? So Classic isn't on this team. Usually, if you're going to have, like Boston, they've got the Boston Academy, usually you'd have your official main substitute on that roster. But in this case, that's not quite the case. But I still think it's really cool, and wishing the best for these guys. And obviously, Drazah and Exceed, who have had their fair share of beef over the last several Call of Duty titles. Obviously, have a bit of an interaction here as well. Now they're kind of, okay, not quite back in the league, but you know what I mean. He's not too far away, Exceed, from getting back in business. Of course, Drazah's now on the main FaZe team. Kind of funny, isn't it, that, Exceed and Drazah both kind of part of FaZe now after the whole, 3-0 when it matters, ... that happened a few years ago. Now, there's been lots of talk this past weekend about the Ravens team, especially after they got body slammed 2 days in a row by Toronto, who then actually went on to kind of get slammed by Boston, and then obviously Ravens got completely annihilated by OpTic, and they just were setting KD records left, right, and centre, basically, during that series. So, lots of talk about Carolina, what the future needs to be there. GodRx, of course, hasn't had a great time so far. Neither has Real. Gwyn's been very good. I think Clay has done more or less what you might have expected, but, I just thought GodRx would do more, basically, and that's been maybe part of the reason why they've not been where they need to be. So whether team changes are necessary, whatever the future is there for Ravens, we know that Clay said going into this season that, this could be his last year competing. Depends, of course, on what happens with the Ravens. He basically doesn't want to go through another roster mania frustrating cycle where he's got to figure things out again and he gets dropped for months on ends before next season starts. Now, of course, with the CDL potentially rounding down, we don't really know what the future is going to be there. there's always the possibility that like all the contracts are voided, so every player has to go through that anyway, at which point Clay might, just because next year's title is going to be a tryout game. We know that COD 2024, I mean, the last time we had a tryout game was 2020, right? Is when it came out, Cold War. Wait, it feels a long time ago. Since then, it's been, you know, Sledgehammer, Infinity Ward, Sledgehammer again. So Treyarch have basically had the longest time ever to put together this upcoming title to such an extent that apparently they're going to be able to go back to back. Even X was talking about Clay as well and saying like, doesn't matter how good you might be, if you're on a bad team, you're going to look like a bad player. And that is generally how it is. So hopefully Ravens and Clayster can turn it around. Because, you know, we don't want to see another veteran player step away prematurely. I know some were even saying, look, maybe Clay will just do what Scump did and retire in January in basically a couple of weeks' time as he had enough. But I think Clay's passion for the game is certainly still there. And we saw it when they completed that reverse sweep and won the round 11 against Vegas. But unfortunately, that's only Vegas and they still need points on the board elsewhere. Even Matt Fisher as well, who's a coach over at FaZe Performance Coach for the New York Subliners, is talking about this and saying that if you're considering roster changes 2 weeks into the season, bringing in new players into the culture that won't allow them to play to their potential isn't going to fix your problems. Is the problem your talent or the environment you've put them in? Now, this is probably a reasonable statement and probably pretty accessible. My opinion, though, is give me the roster change, you know, we want the drama. But, and maybe you need to do both in some sense. Maybe you need a change of talent in order to change the environment, but I thought it was kind of interesting. Now, Clayster, though, did have some thoughts on this. So last night we saw the rumours. No, it must have been CDL Pal that did this tweet, just because this image, as you guys probably realise, is from Advanced Warfare, right? This is a map, I think, called Defender from Advanced Warfare, where it was set, you know, next to the Golden Gate Bridge. You guys probably remember this one. But this is a screenshot from Advanced Warfare, not Treyarch's game. So, you know, whatever. I'll forgive him. Nobody really seemed to notice. Call of Duty 2025 will be a direct sequel to Black Ops 2, set in 2030. So you guys probably remember, Black Ops 2 was set in 2025. Which felt at the time so far away, and now it's basically here, you know, Nuketown 2025 and all that. So apparently it's going to be a direct sequel. Now, you know, I kind of thought Black Ops 3 was the sequel to Black Ops 2, but, you know, whatever, I'm sure they're going to call it something. Remastered Black Ops 2 maps will be included, alongside some new maps as well. Pick 10 and movement updates are expected. So I guess we'll discuss the movement updates in a second. Pick 10 would be such a massive dub. So just to clarify this year is 2023. Modern Warfare 3 has just come out from Sledgehammer, right? Which is kind of a sequel to last year's game, but they still sold it for the full price because that's how Activision operate, baby. And, you know, they've got to maximize shareholder value. I get it. Next year, though, Treyarch are officially back in the driving seat with what is rumored to be called Black Ops Gulf War or something like that. So they've had a long time now, Treyarch, to develop their latest title. The rumor has it that it's going particularly well, especially like the campaign. I'm sure is going to be far more in depth. Not like I really play the campaigns anymore, but I know that Modern Warfare 3, this year's game, got kind of a bad reputation from reviewers just because the campaign is basically non-existent, whereas actually the multiplayer in MW3 is significantly better than it has been for, I would say, the last couple of titles in Vanguard and MW2. But you kind of need a good campaign for the review websites and stuff to actually say the game is good. It's just how it tends to be, so that'll be a focus point, I imagine. So Black Ops Gulf War, that's the rumour. But then the year after that, what's happening then? Are Treyarch actually going back-to-back, or are somebody else, like, are Sledgehammer going to take over the creation of the Black Ops 2 remaster, or are Treyarch actually going to go for back-to-back titles here? Because, in fairness, as I say, they've had like 3-4 years to work on these games. So they could feasibly do it and have Black Ops Gulf War and then Black Ops 2.5, I don't know, the year after, set in 2030. But regardless who exactly does this, it should be a massive W, right? Black Ops 2, such a good game. I mean, look, I don't have to glaze Treyarch any more than I already have on this channel. Like, I get one Treyarch glaze per week. I think it's going to be the new rule. So I guess this can be it for this particular time. But you guys know I love Black Ops 2, love Black Ops 3. Those are the games that really got me into this franchise, and many people feel the same way. So potential return there would be very exciting indeed. I guess one of the questions is, how similar would it be to Black Ops 2? Because if this is going to be, in effect, a direct sequel to what Black Ops 2 was, then it will be probably in many ways rather similar. And let's be honest, what Call of Duty as a franchise have done over the last few years is taken many things which we had right for a long time back in 2012, 2013, and broken them for no reason at all, and now they bring them back, I imagine. But Pick 10 was such a good thing for competitive, and it was such a frustrating feature that's been removed over the last couple of years, basically in favor of this gunsmith, right? You've got infinite attachments. It's an absolute mess. I don't even think casual players like it, to be honest. I get it, the reasons for it in Warzone. But, you know, I've asked people who play this game casually, and they're like, I just prefer to chuck on quick draw stock and, you know, red dot sight like I used to back in the day. That's how Black Ops 2 operated. Also, it opens so many doors, pick 10, to the use of counters, right, with no field upgrades or any of this BS that we have nowadays. When you used to be able to run, look, EMPs in Black Ops 2 was so powerful, it was actually kind of insane. But, you know, they were used, the pros didn't GA them at the time. Trophy systems were allowed, but they were a tactical piece of equipment that you could throw down in the game. You could also, if the other team were using EMPs a lot, you could put on Hardwired as a perk to counter that. And that was actually a viable, well-done strategy that was used in pick 10. So there's so many positive things about this. Now, I don't know what updated movement means. I'm somewhat concerned, and to be honest, I think this is somewhat inevitable, that given the prevalence of Warzone and the prevalence of tactical sprints, that probably this remaster will have tac sprint in it again. I wish it would just have normal sprint and then normal sprint, you know what I mean? But look, if it has to have tac sprint, I guess it's a worthy sacrifice possibly to have a Black Ops 2 remaster with apparently many, if not all of the remastered Black Ops 2 maps. I mean, let's be honest, Modern Warfare 3, we have all of the remastered MW2 maps. So would they not remaster all of the Black Ops 2 maps? I don't know. Maybe just remaster the good ones. To be honest, I love like so many maps in that game. Even Cargo. This is Cargo, right? Or maps like Overflow. Even maps like Drone. I don't know. I just have so many good memories of these maps. I'd love them to remaster all of them. But if they just have to remaster, you know, Raid, Standoff, Yemen, Slums, Meltdown, you know, whatever, I don't mind. I guess that's fine. I can probably live without Turbine, to be honest. But, you know, if you want to bring Turbine back, that's absolutely fine. But apparently it's going to be a mix of new multiplayer maps and remastered Black Ops 2 maps. Of course, if it is a Trek game as well, then the new multiplayer maps are actually probably going to be reasonable enough. Like, based on historical averages, that Trek tend to design better maps than the other developers do. Also, round-based zombies is like, bringing that back would be kind of nice. I don't play much zombies, but it's kind of cool. But anyway, this is Clayster's tweet. You know, damn, looks like you guys are going to get another year out of me. So this is the thing for Clay, and this is, to be fair, the thing for Scump and other guys like that as well that have retired in recent memory. Scump, I think he's pretty clear that, you know, what he's doing at the moment makes sense. He doesn't necessarily want to retire. But I will say that Scump has had some thoughts on, you know, I'll just bring this up, I suppose. Scump's thoughts on the whole YouTube thing, because right now, the way that it is with the YouTube deal for the CDL, it's a bit of a struggle for him to get the amount of hours in on Twitch that he wants to. Basically, on YouTube, if you're streaming, you make way less money than you do on Twitch because of the ad rates and because of, like, subscribing isn't really a thing to the same degree. So you just make way more money on Twitch. So Scump wants to ensure the other streamers as well that he's streaming enough on Twitch compared to the YouTube stuff. But the fact of the matter is that streaming the CDL on YouTube means that that's more difficult. And therefore, they're having discussions about whether they can realistically go to the events this year, because Scump needs to ensure that he's still streaming enough, because otherwise he's losing out on massive money. That's just the way Twitch tends to work. But as a result of this, would Scump think, well, you know, if I'm going to sit here and just stream the CDL on YouTube and not really make as much money anyway, why not come back and play for the main team? Especially when you've got potentially back-to-back Treyarch titles on the way. So I don't know if that really plays into the discussion, but I've talked about it before, that if I was a pro and I'm about to consider retirement, but next year's game is a Treyarch game, and I'm still good enough, and if you're Clayster, like, the fact of the matter is, Clay might not be the player that he was 5-10 years ago, but, you know, accuracy is still getting in the league for various reasons, and, you know, I'm not saying accuracy doesn't deserve his spot, because what he brings to the team is, you know, people know what accuracy brings, people know what they're going to get, and they still sign him. So if accuracy's getting spots, Clay can still get a spot, I imagine, for the next couple of years if he wants to, even if the results this season aren't that good. So, and there's Treyarch games. So it's like, you know, if I'm a pro, do I want to retire before potentially a really good Treyarch game comes out? But then that's 2024, and then 2025 is like Black Ops 2 Remastered, one of Clay's best ever games. So, you know, it becomes difficult, right, for these guys to step away. And it always does make me wonder a little bit whether potentially even Scump might think, well, you know what? I mean, maybe a return could be on the cards here if the stars, I suppose, were to align. But very much interested in your thoughts on all this stuff in the comment section below. Hit the like button if you enjoyed. Subscribe if you're new. Take care. And I'll see you next time.